All right, so this is going to be another movie review. This one's called Imperium St. Peter, 2005. Giving it 5 out of 5 stars. I love this flick. It's got the great Italian singer in her 50s, Lina Strassi. We saw her play Don Bosco's mother. Here she plays Mama Mary, the Immaculate Queen Mother of heaven and earth. We love Mama Mary on this channel. Imperium St. Peter is a 2005 Italian television film about the life and work of St. Peter. The film stars Omar Sharif as Peter, and it was originally released as San Pietro. Release date 2005 in Italy. Pretty cool movie night at St. Dominic's. The the coordinator of St. Dominic's movie night, she was telling me she canceled her vacation because she wanted to go to Tenebrae, but then she changed her mind because I guess I was getting too friendly with Miss Rebecca. I don't know. I don't know what her hang-up is. She's a year younger than I am. She's a lot chubbier than Rebecca, but I don't know. I guess she wanted to call me, but she didn't have my phone number. Oh well. Too bad. It looks like Rebecca's going to flake on me for Divine Mercy Sunday. So it's just going to be me and my son on Sunday. San Pietro TV movie, 2005, rated PG-13, 3 hours and 17 minutes. And my neighbor was complaining that the movie was too long. Oh, you can't show a movie. You can't show a movie like this in the movie theaters these days. I told him it was a TV movie, and then he started to pipe down a little bit. IMDb rating is pretty decent, 6.9 out of 10. 645 ratings. San Pietro TV movie, 2005, PG-13. 3 hours, 17 minutes. There's a lot of blood and gore in this for a Catholic movie. St. Peter, a reluctant but passionate leader from the crucifixion of Jesus to his own. The film's first half dramatizes the New Testament's Acts, early fear, the renewal of Pentecost, Saul's conversion, the decision to baptize pagans, and the apostles' dispersal. In the second half, an aged Peter goes to Rome to join Paul, arriving on the day of Paul's arrest. What else? Paul's death brings a crisis to Rome's Christians and to Peter. Lessons from Jesus' teachings guide his decision to stay. Events within the fictive household of Perseus, a Roman aristocrat, capture the upheaval that Christian teachings bring to the eternal city. That's the summary by Jay Haley at hotmail.com. Here's a less flattering review from Ma Cortez. Ma Cortez gives it a 7 out of 10. Interesting retelling at the life and teachings of St. Peter from a biblical, historical, and religious viewpoint. That's the title of the Ma Cortez review on IMDb, dated July 23rd, 2019, more recent one. Expensively mounted biblical production with mostly Italian star cast and spectacularly filmed in Italy, but overlong. In fact, the length of this TV movie runs 4 hours and 25 minutes. I don't know which version that is, but the one I saw said it was 3 hours and 17 minutes, was kind of matched up to the clock. I don't think Yvonne started the movie until about 6:45, maybe. Two men changed the world forever. Jesus Christ and his main disciple, St. Peter. Colorful version of Peter's life with a true epic treatment following the Catholic canon and being marvelously shot. Peter was considered, along with James the Just and John the Apostle, as pillars of the church. The leadership of Peter forms the basis of the apostolic succession and the institutional power of orthodoxy, and it is described as the rock on which the church will be built. Catholics refer to him as chief of the apostles, as Peter is always listed first among the 12 apostles in the Gospels, and in the book of Acts. Peter is often depicted in the Gospels as spokesman of all the apostles. He is also frequently mentioned in the Gospels as forming, with James the Elder and John, a special group within the 12 apostles, present at incidents at which the others were not present, such as the transfiguration of Jesus, at the raising of Jairus' daughter, and at the agony in the Garden of Gethsemane, death and resurrection. As Paul's first epistle to the Corinthians contains a list of resurrection appearances of Jesus, the first of which is an appearance to Peter. In John's Gospel, Peter is the first person to enter the empty tomb, although the women and the beloved disciples see it before him. And of course, all four canonical Gospels recount that during the Last Supper, Jesus foretold that Peter would deny him 3 times before the following cockcrow, before the cock crows twice in Mark's account. According to Christian tradition, Peter was crucified in Rome under Emperor Nero. He is traditionally counted as the first bishop of Rome or pope, and also by Eastern Christian tradition as the first patriarch of Antioch. The ancient Christian churches all venerate Peter as a major saint and as the founder of the Church of Antioch and the Roman Church. This highly regarded epic deals with dramatic recreation of the life of St. Peter from his meeting with Jesus through miracles. Jesus succeeds in allaying the doubts of Simon the fisher, called Peter, played by Omar Sharif, and even those of Thomas the skeptic, and shortly after Matthew the tax collector, who becomes a follower of Jesus despite the other disciples' mistrust. Jesus Christ's Johannes Bandrup journey from Galilee to Golgotha is portrayed here in thought provoking as well as original treatment by using some flashbacks, including Christ evangelization, crucifixion, resurrection, through the ascension and the renewal of Pentecost, concerning about the wonderful life, work, and death of Peter, a reluctant but passionate leader, as we know it from the Bible, adding his relation to St. Paulius, Danielle Pecci, Virgin Maria, Christ's mother, Lina Sastri. We like Lina Sastri on this channel. Maria Magdalena, played by Milena Maconi, and other apostles, Matthias, Leonello, Barnaby, Mariani, Filippo, Abanayeg. The film includes all the major events referred to in the New Testament with descriptive biblical passages from the crucifixion of Jesus to his life in Jerusalem, Antioch, and Rome, where Peter knows he has a destiny to fulfill. The film's first half dramatizes the New Testament's Acts, early fear as his followers, disciples, are already slowly beginning to gather around him. Saul's conversion, the decision to baptize pagans, and his relationship to other apostles, and so on. And finally, the apostles' dispersal. Peter went to Antioch, where Paul rebuked him for following the conservative line regarding the conversion of Gentiles, having meals separate from Gentiles. Subsequent tradition held that Peter had been the first patriarch of Antioch. Later on, Peter and Paul founded the Church of Rome and the Church of Corinth, and they have lived in Corinth for some time, and definitely in Italy, where they found death. And there Paul wrote his epistle to the Romans about 57 AD. In the second half, an elderly Peter goes to Rome to join Paul, bringing to the eternal city the Christian teachings and arriving on the day of Paul's arrest. Paul's death brings a crisis to Rome's Christians and to Peter. Lessons from Jesus' teachings guide his decision to stay. The apocryphal Acts of Peter is the source for the tradition about the Latin famous phrase, Quo vadis Domini, which means, "Where are you going, Lord?" According to the story, Peter, fleeing Rome to avoid execution, meets the risen Jesus. In the Latin translation, Peter asks Jesus, "Quo vadis?" He replies, "I'm going to Rome to be crucified again." Peter then gains the courage to continue his ministry, and he returns to the city where he is martyred. Early church tradition says that Peter probably died by crucifixion with arms outstretched at the same time of the Great Fire of Rome in the year 64. This took place 3 months after the disastrous fire that destroyed Rome, for which the Emperor Nero wished to blame the Christians. This Dies Imperili Regnal Day anniversary was an important one, exactly 10 years after Nero ascended to the throne, and it was an as usual accompanied by much bloodshed. Traditionally, Roman authorities sentenced him to death by crucifixion in accordance with the apocryphal Acts of Peter. He was crucified head down. Tradition also locates his burial place, where the Basilica of St. Peter was later built, directly beneath the basilica's high altar. Breathtaking story set in Christ times with emphasis in religious motives, lavish costumes, and crowds. This is an impressive story of the life of St. Peter, filmed on a relatively grand scale, being efficiently directed by Giulio base, however, not completely reverential at some biblical characters. Life of Peter is intelligently told, including glowing cinematography by Giovanni Galasso, an attractive visual style, memorable soundtrack by Marco Frisina, and decent cast giving larger than life interpretation. Sensitive though aged, Omar Sharif is exactly the right role. He gives a dedicated effort at the character. His acting has power, nobility, subtlety, and sensibility. However, some scenarios and outdoors lack of authenticity and unrealistic, being extremely green and lush. So there you have it, Ma Cortez review. More like the St. Paul, Imperium Augustan, the decline of the Roman Empire. Abraham, the Bible collection, Jeremiah. I've got to add all those. Genre drama, motion picture rating MPA, rated PG-13 for some violent images, namely Passion and Peter's crucifixion. The length of the film is 4 hours and 25 minutes. That's funny. The version I saw was 3 hours, 17 minutes. Follows Augustus, the first emperor, 2003. Release date, October 24th, 2005 in Italy. Country of origin, Italy. Languages, Italian and English, also known as Imperium St. Peter. San Pietro. Filming locations, Empire Studios, Tunisia. Production companies, Rai Radio Televisione Italiana, Rai Fiction, and Lux Vide. Runtime, 3 hours, 17 minutes, 197 minutes. This is in color. This sound mix is stereo, and the aspect ratio is 1.33 to 1. Excellent biblical epic movie. Check it out. Highly recommended. Number one, if you want to know about the apostolic period, this is the perfect movie to watch, along with Barabbas. And speaking of which, number one on my list is Santa Barbara, 2012. It's supposed to have a hot Blondie in there. Fugitive Girls, number 2, 1974. Number 3 is the St. Louis Bank Robbery, 1959. So that's the end of my review. Like I said, great movie, highly recommended. Check it out. One of the few movies on form.org that are like hidden gems. Those are hard to find on form.org. But I'm going to look up those other 4 movies, see if I can find them, and add them to my list. Laters.